I like moving around.
The right side of the pan is similar to what we would think of the white notes of the piano. The left-hand side of the pan are really the black notes of the piano. C, D, E, F.
All right, your body posture before you play the pan. Put the mallet slightly in your fingers and you move with your wrists, not with your forearms. Hit in the middle. That's the sweet spot.
Musicians have the unique opportunity to improvise music.
Hi, I'm Kaylee Rossmau.
And I'm Ann Fennel with Musicians Toolkit.
And this is Steel Drum Fundamentals.
The history of the steel pans is connected directly to the history of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. Since its discovery in 1498 by Columbus, the islands changed hands over 22 times, bringing with it the numerous cultures that were involved. In addition to the slaves that were part of the islands in the 1830s, and then the indentured servants and other slaves from India and China. So with the West African influence of slaves and the people from China and India came the amazing cultures that gave us the lead into the steel drum. With the many different cultures comes many different types of music. With the West African influx of slave came drumming and singing queso music, which is from West Africa, where people would gather in large groups and sing, somewhat of political of nature, where they would speak of their owners through song. Also came drumming, and when the drums played, the owners of the plantations were very concerned that they were communicating back and forth, which they probably were, through very different rhythms, through the instruments they brought. Over time, the plantation owners and the government outlawed drumming in the 1880s. And when the drums went away, the people naturally found another instrument. And what was native to that area was bamboo. And so they would take the bamboo and hollow it out and cut it in different lengths to create different stick levels and also different pitches. From the French word we have tambour, and so we then created tambour bamboo. Tambour bamboo were ensembles created of bamboo that was hit on the ground to produce different pitches from the hollowed out tambour, and also struck together with another stick. Individuals in neighborhoods would gather together with their different levels of tambour and create tambour bamboo ensembles. And over time, these began to evolve with added metal parts. Sometimes a metal tin biscuit or a brake from a car in the really early 1900s, or different pieces of metal or a fork on a bottle. The timbre started to expand with the found items that were available to them. During carnival time, when people would take to the streets and sing and dance with their masquerades and their different costumes, so followed the tambour bamboo ensembles. And these ensembles would help carry the music of the people, the average people of the community, as part of the celebration. Carnival used to be a time of only the upper echelon celebrating, but it soon became part of the celebration of all people, and then through their music, they expressed and they connected with carnival time. The first pans actually came from the tambour bamboo ensemble. As the bamboo expanded to include other sounds, metal sounds, the first pans became a part of the group. They used biscuit tins, and they would knock out different sections to have a different sound for different parts of it. Originally, the first pans of these biscuit tins, or these round metal parts, were hung around the neck. In fact, they were called neck pans. They would hit them with their fingers, and the sound actually sounded like ping and a pong, and they actually called them ping pong pans. From ping pong pans, individuals then added more notes, tried to develop different ways of creating pitches on the pans, and over time, these progressed into using different found items on the islands to produce the pan we know today. Instruments are developed over time by the artifacts and the items that are found in and around people. Just as bamboo was a part of tambour bamboo, creating ensembles, here come the 55-gallon oil drums. As oil manufacturing and natural gas was found on the islands of Trinidad and Tobago, The 55-gallon oil drum became a natural sight on the islands. In 1948, the first tenor pan was made from the 55-gallon oil drum, and thus setting us up for an ensemble of many different voices and many different sizes. From the 55-gallon drum, they would take and they would sink the pan. From sinking the pan, they would then mark off in concentric circles, find different pitches. And now, today, we use strobe tuners to find the actual pitch and hammer the pitch into the metal, eventually producing the fundamental pitches that exist today on the pan. The first notes of a steel pan. The beautiful part about this is that you can decide that. Really step into the pan and find a note that you can sing. La, 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 la. And from there, you can actually play a melody, hum a tune, and play it back to yourself. Maybe even something as simple as Twinkle, Twinkle. If you can sing it, you can play it. From every major scale, we can play an arpeggio and also major chords. From the C major scale, we can play every other note based on C and create an arpeggio, C, E, G, and the octave C. The C chord is based on C major, which is the first step. We call that the 1 chord. To play the other major chord, F major, we count up from C. C, D, E, F, 4 steps up. This is the major 4 chord, F, A, and C. I can play these pitches together to create harmony as well. And the final major chord is G, built on the 5th step, C, D, E, F, G. And if I build a chord on G, skipping every other note, I have G, B, D. I can play these pitches together to create harmony as well. The arpeggio leads us into the 1 chord, and the 2 remaining major chords in a major scale are the 4 and the 5 chord. And now let's talk about articulation on the tenor pan. Unlike other melodic percussion instruments that will have different types of mallet heads to receive a staccato sound, we have mallets or sticks that have rubber tips and they stay the same. Now there are different ways that you can play the pan to get a different type of sound. You can play it a little bit harder to get a staccato sound. You'll still have the sustain afterwards, or you can roll the mallets and you can roll the pitch to have a sort of a legato sound. We have to be very cautious not to strike too hard because it can actually break the actual pitch. Not break the pan, but break the pitch to take the overtones like this. We want to find the sweetest spot on the pan with the softest touch to produce the legato and slightly staccato sound. And now we get to assemble the pan. It's pretty simple. There are simple parts to it. There's the stand along with the legs. These are the metal parts of the leg that you raise to hold the pan. You'll notice there are slots on top that will go perpendicular to your body, and those will help hang the pan. Once I tighten them and they are safe, I then get to pull the pan out of its case. And I'll make sure that the logo of the pan is facing towards the audience. I balance the pan on my thigh so that it's secure and it won't fall. And then I take these wires and I hang them in the slots. I make sure that that metal clamp is not touching the metal stand or leg or the pan because we don't want it to vibrate while we're playing. And that is how you assemble the steel pan.
And now I will give a demonstration of the chromatic scale. A chromatic scale is a scale of half steps. And on a steel pan, the half step layout is directly across the drum. Now the first note, for example, is C. Second note would be across the drum to C sharp. Exactly like D to D sharp. Now I will give an example of a 2-octave chromatic scale. And now I'm going to play the chromatic scale descending. And now I'm going to show you the sticking, as in which hand to use, when you play the chromatic scale. So you mainly use a right, then left, then right, and then left, except for when you get to the B and C transition or the F sharp and G transition. So starting on C, I use my right, then it would be left, right, left, right, left. Now here on F sharp, right, and then I use right again on the G. And then you continue on the right, left, and then when you hit B with your right, you're going to hit right on the C again, and then keep going left, right, left, right. Now, descending, same thing. So you start with C and to the B. Here's the F sharp. With the left, I will use the left again on F, and then you go back to alternating. And then when you hit C, with the right, I go up with the right on the B, and you continue alternate. Here's the F sharp, left, left, and then go back to alternating. And that's how you play a chromatic scale on the tenor steel pan.
Musicians have the unique opportunity to improvise music. And that means to create music in the moment, what you feel and what you want to hear. You can improvise on rhythm. Sometimes you can improvise with pitch. Making music in the moment. Other times you can improvise over a given rhythm, like what we're going to show you now. I'll play a 2-measure rhythm pattern, and then Kaylee, using 2 pitches, C and G, will improvise over the given rhythm pattern. When you improvise, it's important to always start and end on the home tone to keep that scale centered. Here is the rhythm. 1, 2, 3, 4. And now we'll add Kaylee. 1, 2, 3, 4. And that is how to use 2 pitches over a given rhythm for improvisation. Improvisation, creating music in the moment. Sometimes you can create music over a given rhythm pattern, just like this. Kaylee's going to use 4 pitches, C, G, D, and A, to improvise over that rhythm. He'll start and end on the home tone, C. 1, 2, 3, 4. Kaylee chose the sequence that he wanted to play the notes in to improvise. Playing harmony on the steel drum is easy because we have two hands, and fortunately for us, harmony comes when two pitches are layered together. If you have a chord such as C, E, G, the root, the third, and the fifth, you can play the root in one hand and the third in another. For C, E, G, the root would be C, and the third would be E. Here's the harmony of C and E together. If I were to play the root and the fifth, it would sound like this. If I would take an F chord, F, A, C, and the root is F, I could play the root and the third, F and A, together. Or I could play the root and the fifth together. Harmony is easy on the steel pan, two hands and two notes. And now for the range of the instrument and the layout of the pitches. The instrument is a little bit over 2 octaves. It starts on low C, and every time you step into the pan further, it goes up an octave. It is the spider web pan tuning that was created years ago to help organize and allow for more notes on the playing surface. So this is low C, or really what we would see as middle C on the piano. And this is 1 octave up, and then another octave higher yet. Here's another example, D, an octave higher from low D, and 1 more octave higher to that. You can see 2 octaves from the outside to the inside of the pan. And these are the note arrangements and the note range of the tenor steel pan. And now for the chromatic note arrangement on the tenor pan. The right side of the pan is similar to what we would think of the white notes of the piano, and the left-hand side of the pan are really the black notes of the piano. We'll continue counting in fifths from B to get to those black notes, or the chromatic side. So, B, C, D, E, F, and we have F sharp then. F, G, A, B, C, and that is C sharp. C, D, E, F, G, and that is G sharp. G, A, B, C, D, D sharp. D, E, F, G, A sharp. And while we know that notes are sharp, they actually have an enharmonic name to them. F sharp is also known as G flat. C sharp is also known as D flat. G sharp is also known as A flat. D sharp is also known as E flat. And A sharp is also known as B flat. And these are the chromatic pitches of the tenor steel pan. And now we're going to talk about the note arrangement on the steel pan. When the pans were first invented, different builders had different types of note arrangements. Fortunately for us, Anthony Williams created a sequence of notes arranged by fourths and fifths. Starting on C, if you count up 5 notes, C, D, E, F, G, that is your first note to the right from low C. I'll mark it on the pan here. There is C, and 5 notes up is G. We continue that sequence through the pan. G, A, B, C, D. D, E, F, G, A. A, B, C, D, E. E, F, G, A, B. And this is where the fourth comes in, because we have this note to the left of C, C, D, E, F. And this is the fourth away from C. So now you have the diatonic note arrangement of the tenor steel pan. And now for the parts of the pan. There are 6 parts if you include these mallets or sticks, and they have rubber tips on the ends, so you can get a beautiful sound. But there are also physical parts to the pan themselves. You'll notice that we have a playing surface, like this. We have the skirt on the sides, and on the skirt there are holes that are drilled that suspend the actual playing pan itself. And then we have the legs, and underneath there is the belly. And these are the parts of the pan.
The steel pan is a beautiful melodic instrument. And because we could play two notes at the same time, we could add harmony to the melody. For example, when you play C, you could play G with it. Or you could add A with C. I'm going to play an example of a melody with harmony. And that is playing harmony on the steel pan. All right, now we're going to talk about your body posture before you play the pan. First, let's have your feet about shoulder width apart, and you have even weight on both of them, and you're directly in front of the pan. Next is how you hold the sticks. So you put the mallet slightly in your fingers, and you move with your wrists, not with your forearms, and you create a nice sound like this. You can also make a rolling sound with the movement of the wrists. And that is your body posture and hand position. All right, now we're going to talk about tone production. And basically, where you want to hit the mallet within the note is right in the middle. That's the sweet spot, okay? And you don't want to hit it too hard because it breaks the tone. All right, so this is a good example. This is a bad example. All right, and if you hit it even harder than that, you might actually hurt the drum and it detunes the drum. So you got to be very careful. And that is tone production of the steel pan. Now let's talk about warming up. Our main goal is to warm up our wrists and make sure they're loose. And we're going to hold the mallets and we're going to just pick any note at random. So I'm going to start on C, and I'm going to roll for a count of 4 for whole notes, and then roll in half notes, then roll in quarter notes, and then strike them for 1/8 notes, and then strike them for 16th notes. Now, when you do this, you want to make sure there's even space between each, and it's distinctively, you can hear each note. So here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a. Now the next note we're going to warm up on, I'm going to choose the note B. And the reason is it's on this side of the drum. And when you want to roll, we want to dig into the drum, and you can lean in and bend in, and then you start rolling. All right? So we don't want to be looking like this, we want to look like this, digging into the drum. So in the note B, warm up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a. And that's the warm-up. This warm-up helps support your rhythm and your playing technique.
Thank you for joining us and learning the fundamentals of the steel drum. We've learned so much in this course, from assembling the steel pan to the first notes to playing melody and harmony.
And as you master these fundamentals, you'll be well on your way to becoming a great steel drum player. I'm Kaylee Rossmowell.
And I'm Ann Fennel with Musicians Toolkit. Best wishes in your musical journey.